Hello, gorgeous soul family, and welcome to today's show, which is making mala beads for manifestation. And sending you happy birthday wishes, Lynn. And hey, John. John saying the quantum entanglement field brought me here. Awesome. And yeah, let's get into it. So, I have a few different examples of different types of beads. With this, because we are working with it for manifestation, I don't want you guys to feel that you have to stick to a one size fits all manifestation process. I want you to really make this your own. And let me just pop up. We will show a few examples of different beads and things, but before we get into that, so I'll just bring up this little window so you can find more information online exactly around mala beads, why it's 108 beads that we use, because that's how many beads you'll see that we're using in the mala beads that we're making today. So with this, you can see this one doesn't have the tassel at the end. It has this looking like a seed of life mandala. And so if we scroll down further here, so we see that they're used not just in Western culture nowadays, but we also see that they're more from the Eastern side of things. So you're more likely to see them in India, although we do also see, like in Catholic traditions, they use them as rosary beads. So the idea with this being is, let me just pop this so you can see. Hey, thank you for joining us. And Ken, I look forward to seeing you on that show too. So when we're actually working with mala beads, it's to use your middle finger and your thumb and you hold each bead. So with this, it's more that you're doing your prayer or your affirmation and you're working with the beads as a counter. So this is what we quite often see, in the Catholic or the prayer side of things when they use more as prayer beads. So with this today, I've got a few different ones to show you that I've made. So this is one that I made for my partner. This is a manifestation one. So I utilized this beautiful yellow stone, and it's also got some white howlite there as well. And yeah, all of these tassels I've handmade. What you also notice is you'll have 108 beads, and you might hear Lyra chasing her tail in the background, but you'll have a guru bead too. And with the guru bead, if we think about that being the beginning and the ending, so if we think about it in terms of like the infinite symbol, or I'm trying to think of what the name it's called, that Mobius, that never-ending sort of loop. So if we think about that being the starting point, and then we do each of the affirmations as we go around, and it's like completing it or anchoring and bringing that back together as well. Oh, cool. Lorianne saying kind of look like Moroccan prayer beads. Awesome. So yeah, lots of different cultures will have their version of the beads. And I can see, oh, Larry, you're in Alberta. Awesome. Thank you, Lorianne. So yeah, here is another one. This one has some orange carnelian as well as some tourmaline quartz in here. And just, I want you to think about when you're making these too, what is your desire or what is your intention? And sometimes it's that the stones or crystals, they may be speaking to you just color wise, like as a color medicine. I know there was a piece I made a while ago that had, it was white howlite. And then I had all these different tone pink tassels that I had on it too. So you can even think about this being something that you're making to anchor a new identity version. So thinking about wearing these beads, and each time like you're wearing them, you're feeling and touching into that version of you that you're wanting to anchor. So with this, I've also got another one that's a little bit different. So instead of the guru bead, I've chosen to put a few different things at the bottom. So I've got a feather, a hamsa palm, which is about protection, and a little tassel. This one was a store-bought tassel, and you can see it's a little bit more fragile compared to the tassels that you can hand make just from cotton that you would get in either an embroidery store or like a craft store. Over here we have Spotlight is the place to go. I don't know where you guys have in the States. Haven't been to your craft stores yet. But what you also can do is when you've made the tassel or you trim it, you can get a little toothbrush to fluff out the edges of it as well. And I'll show you, there's another traditional way to make mala. I'll show a reference for a video that's really good for that. For my use of them, I really love to use tiger tail. So let's also talk about let's talk about the practicality side of it. So say if I was going to be making a mala bead, I'll pop these aside and think about, first of all, your intention and what it is that you want to create. Hey, Lisa. And oh, you have Michael's craft store. Okay, so that would be your place to go if, oh, and also online. So you can actually get a lot of these crystals. You'll see here, I've got a bag of like leftover different odds and ends from my children and I making different beads. And I also have taught this in person as well, which was a lot of fun, sitting around a table with other people into manifestation. That was quite a few years ago though. So yeah, let's talk about what we would start with. So you would pick your stones. You can go to Etsy. I just say be careful because a lot of the stones are coming from China and some of them are dyed. So I prefer to work with more organic stones and ones that aren't altered or dyed. A common one that you will see being dyed is, see this little white stone here. Let me see if I can find it. So this little white black stone that I've got next to the snowflake, and you can put little beads like this in it, count it as a bead too, because you want your 108 plus that guru bead at the bottom. But white howlite can quite often be dyed blue, and that's what they call turquoise. And you'll see you could even make a bracelet. If you don't have the patience to sit and do a necklace, you can even make a bracelet. This is really, we're just making jewelry for manifestation intention. So the idea around the 108, let me just pop this up. Sorry, guys, a little bit ADD today. So let me just see where I've placed this one. So if we come down here, and this is just on sevencorners.com, it was just a great informative written piece around that mala. So in Sanskrit alphabet, there are 54 letters of the Sanskrit alphabet. So each has a masculine, feminine, Shiva, Shakti. So 54 times 2 is 108. And when we look at the heart chakra, the chakra is the intersection of energy lines that are said to be a total of 108 energy lines converging to form that heart chakra energy. So if we think about all of the energy lines, and we can think about this, how we have energy lines, the earth also has, energy lines as well. So what you also see, there's a lot more things written into it. I won't go too into it because we can look at the, I guess, the congruency of the 108 in so many different ways and areas. But essentially, one side of your necklace will have 54 beads, the other side will too. Then you've got the anchor bead at the bottom. And I can see Lorianne saying, when I touch beads and threads, I have cellular memory recollection of past lives, as well as mental worker and making stitches for clothing. Awesome. That's really cool. Hey, Jake. Lovely to have you here. So let's pick up these beads and get started. So the first thing I like to do is select what beads I'll be working with. So these ones I have adventuring, and I'm thinking with this one, my intention, and I've got 2 strands in here. So you want to count your beads to make sure that you have enough, which sometimes can be hard if you are purchasing online. I do go purchase wholesale. So I've got 2 strands here, plus my extra beads that I've counted out, and my little guru bead, this little silver bead. So this silver bead I actually did buy on Etsy, and let me hold this up to show you. And I like to make sure that all of my little fittings and findings are silver. Now, because I pop mine on tiger tail, which is a lot stronger than the traditional thread that's used, and with the thread, it's just embroidery thread that you get from craft supply stores. So you can use that with a beading needle to actually thread through these beads. But because we are working with crystals, what happens is the interior, and I've just lost some beads on the floor. I'll get them later. Anyway, when you're working with beads, when I have made mala in the past and I've done them on thread, I find that over time, the rough surface of the interior of the crystals does decay and erode the thread. And so you end up with breaks and things. And with the traditional mala, they do a knot inside between each of the beads. So you're not going to lose all of your beads if it was to break. And with the tiger tail, you're not doing the knot. So that's the difference with the two. So this would be the little guru bead. And you see here it has 3 little holes, so one going all the way through and then one where your tassel will be at the bottom. And I'll also show you a little trick in how to thread this, because this is not easy to thread. It doesn't thread with just a straight piece because it's got those 3 holes to try and snake through. So the first thing I do is I've got my little crystals, I've got all of my tools and things. The other thing that you'll need is whether you want to use wire cutters. If you've got an old pair of scissors, it may blunt them, but you can use old pair of scissors, and little pinch nose pliers as well. And as I said before, you can use a store-bought tassel. You can see that it is harder to find a good quality one, or you can actually use the thread. Now, what I like to do too with the tassels is I like to match or sometimes do a contrasting color. So with this one, it would be just to match. And what you want to do is take your stick of incense. I love dragon's blood. So what I noticed with this dragon's blood that I've got here, it doesn't tend to burn too well because it was more the cone one. That's just what I had left over. So you want to take dragon's blood incense. You can use sage if you don't have it. Dragon's blood just is one of those ones that's a lot longer. And you want to light that. And we're also setting that intention. So I'm visualizing beautiful gold around my aura, visualizing connected to higher self, connected to source. Sometimes you might want to ask Archangel Michael to come in, or any other guides or beings that you work with for protection, always noting that it's for your best and highest good. And I like to actually cleanse the beads. So I'll put them down and I'll run the incense around them. And the other thing is you want to make sure that you're also cleansing your tassel too. And again, this is about cleansing to purify, and then we'll set the intention a little bit later. So let me pop that aside. And the other thing that I also like to incorporate is having my potion. So I love to make a little, either a pot of tea or just a cup of potion. So because I'm working with one around abundance, so I'm using the abundance potion with this one. So you can see what I'm doing in terms of like putting the energy into the work and into me. So it's like that energy is channeling through me and into the beads as well. So the other thing that you will need if you are making a stronger one is what's called tiger tail. And with this, you'll see here, let me just see if I can bring it up. So this is usually a nylon coated stainless steel, or I think this one is a brass wire. And also some people say to use, I think it's 40 to 50 inches. What I like to do is start with like a longer piece than I think that I'll need. So that looks way longer than what one of the finished pieces would be. And then I just either use the scissors or the wire cutters to go in and to snip that. And you also want to make sure you're winding this back up onto the reel. The reason being is if this gets all kinked, it ends up messing with your jewelry. Okay. So you won't have things sit flat. So the next thing that we do is I like to thread the tassel through. Now, sometimes I will start with making the tassel or use the store-bought one. Sometimes what I like to do is get like a little matchbox. This is an old crystal one. And you want to get your cotton. Now, this is a little bit harder with you guys watching me, just so you know. It's a little bit different to sitting on the couch relaxing. So bear with me. So about that size of a matchbox, I have made them where it's just around the 2 fingers or 3 fingers, like people talk about in the past. But I find that this is just an easier way to do it. Now, I do like this little crystal box, the size of a matchbox, because it's harder than a matchbox. And you just want to take your little piece, leave that dangling. You might hear Lyra around. Anyway, so we're going to go round and round. And with the store-bought tassels, you'll find that they're not as thick. So I think you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. And I won't go into making this because it will take too long to show you a whole like start to finish process, because I don't want this show to be too long, but I just want to show you how to go in and show you some techniques that I've learned. So what we'll do, say you've got like your full width of your tassel, you would slide that off and you would then take, let me just show you. So say this is your full amount of string. Now, some people say to do it 30 times. If you want to fluffy a tassel, you can do it about 50 times. It's really up to you. So we can see there's that string that we've left with like a little bit at the top. You might want to trim that off when you've got the full thickness. And then what I find is I want to find that little bit that you have at the top. So let me show you a pre-made one that I've done. So you can see I've tried to make that around the garoo bead. You can see that that thread has been wrapped closely to the top. So that's what we're doing, is we're making a space for it. Now, if we go back to the wire, this is also, if you're making it directly to pop onto the necklace, you might find that it's easier to actually get the wire like this and put it through and then to wrap your cord. Now you want to make sure that when you secure that knot around here that it's quite tight. The other thing that you can do is actually take a needle and stitch it through, which is what I've done here with this little knot. And you'll see that it's just a tiny little knot at the back. Some people like to go up and down through that main little wrap part of the tassel in order to secure it too. So let me just pop this aside. And because I don't want to take up all of the time making the tassel, we're just going to pop this one on, this pre-made little one, which is quite bright. I don't think I'll actually use this for anything. And hopefully we can get this wire to go through, because some of the ones that you buy, hey Ben, I hope you and the family are well. Some of the ones that you buy don't always have the best opening for it to come through. So let me just see. I feel like we've got a craft channel all of a sudden. Okay, this one's not behaving for me. But what I will do is I'm going to snip to show you. So just imagine we've got the tassel on there, and then we're looking for that garoo bead. Okay. So with this, I'll just check there's no more tassels. So imagine we've got this little tassel on here, and then what we're doing, the secret, and this took me quite a while to find this out after sitting there for a long, long time. So with these garoo beads, remember I was saying you can't just thread it through, it doesn't work like that. So what I like to do is get these little pinch nose pliers, and you just want to take it and curve it. So I'm just creating a bend only in the tip. And I like to do that on the other side. And so remember, we have the imaginary tassel on the end that's not threading. And what you want to do is, because your tassel will be, we want it to be at the bottom of this. So you've got to come up through the bottom. And with this little bend, we're just looking at trying to get this bend to come through. Now, this might be hard to hold up to show you guys on camera. Hopefully it cooperates and goes through for me. We'll try the other side first. And sometimes you might have to go back in and rebend it. And I do suggest also some of the beads that you'll get might not have the smoothest interiors. So if one bead's not working, don't be afraid to pick up another one and to utilize that. Okay. So you will actually feel it bumping up against little things in here. Oh, and this is just not going through today. Let me grab another bead. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ken. You're so sweet. I hope you and Kyla are well. Let me see if I've got another guru bead here. I don't want to spend too much time wasting time on that because I want to show you other things. But essentially, what you're looking to do is just to make sure that that's bent well enough so that you could pop it through. So we'll give it one more try and I'll move on if that's deciding not to work for us today. Because sometimes it's something you want to sit down and relax with a cup of tea. Okay, so that's not going through. But what I'll show you is with this one, just so that you get the idea. So we're wanting to anchor the tassel in the bottom of this and then thread those ends through that joining section of the guru, which is that T, the bottom part of the T. So that'll get threaded through here. And essentially you have one come out each side. And then remember, if we're using that long length, the longer part will be tied at the back. So let me just show you. These also help. And this is where it's a little bit of a struggle to do this, holding it up on camera, like the fiddliness of it. I'm just trying to find, there is a little tool that you can use that helps. I'm just seeing if I've got a photo of it. There's like bead making trays and things that you can actually get. Oh, it must have disappeared. You can hear Lyra in the background. So let me pop this up so you guys can see. Okay, so I've used these in the past, and especially if you're sitting making it at a coffee table or at a desk, which is much easier. And you can see that you can even place your beads in to count them out, to spread them out. These are quite handy because you can actually see your color lay, your design, or if you're putting, little anchor beads or putting like little design beads to change it up, you can make sure that they're at equal positions on the opposite side. So you want your tassel, your guru bead, your 54 beads each side. So let me just also show you, just make sure we've got, I wanted to show you these as well. So these are other ones that I've made in the past. So you can actually make rainbow ones. This was from years ago when I was teaching, and you can see here, there's a little Merkaba. So if you do go onto Etsy, you'll find some really good quality silver charms. This one has a little shell with a little pearl in it. I do like to make sure to get sterling silver if I can. So that's something that you want to check out with the seller, that they're using sterling silver. This is a Merkaba one close up. So I like to use sometimes colors that tonally will look really synergistic together. So this one being purple and pink. And this one, I sometimes also like to do a contrast. So I just want to give you an idea. And you can see with this lotus that I've stitched on, this is a silver lotus, that I've actually stitched it on so that that lotus doesn't flip around. So you can opt to have it on a jump ring, which is just one of these. Let me pop this up to show you. There's one, one in here. Okay. So you can pop it on a little jump ring for the charms and things, or like this one, you can even put it on one of those things that you can detach on and off. So this little fairy, where is she? She's on just one of those little necklace things that you can take on and off, the little catch. Okay. Let me pop this back up. Oh, and also my show later today with the gorgeous Shiana, she's had something come up. So we're just delaying the show. We're still going to do it, but it will be on a different day. So I do like to store my beads in little mason jars, and I think they look quite pretty, on shelves as well. And these are some of the thicker tassels that I was talking about having made. So you can really make it as thick or thin as you like. And this was a different version of a mala bead, but this was when I really felt like I needed to anchor pink medicine. And if you guys have seen, I'm just trying to think of what they're called. They're the little bottles, the Aura Soma bottles. If I type this in, Aura Soma. So I was making like an Aura Soma kind of inspired necklace. So with Aura Soma, when you're doing a color reading with them, there's usually 4 bottles, and it's to have a look at kind of what you were born with, what you're currently doing, and things that you're letting go of and who you're kind of turning into. So it's like a bit of an identity shift type situation is what we see with that. And I also want to show you this YouTube is really, really good if you want to make it the traditional way. And when I do have a little bit more time, this is something that I want to go back to. I have, as I said before, made them with the thread in the past, but they're just not as strong, unfortunately. I'll drop this in the chat below so that you guys can also see the video link. So this is a really great one. Oh, awesome. I would love to see pictures of what they look like. They sound really pretty. Okay, and Lisa, yes, definitely. You don't have to be crafty to try this. So this video, you won't see the sound on it, but it's making a traditional 108 mala bead, and this was in the Moksha Kusa. I cannot pronounce that last name. Anyway, you'll see here he goes through the exact way to make the tassel, to do the knot, and it is different because he works from the base bead, because it is a thread and you want to get that single thread all the way through. So he does work all the way through, but without the little necklace catch at the top. What I also found when I did make these mala in the past is the little knot between tends to make the necklace a lot longer. So I do actually prefer one to sit at a certain length, which is why I'm showing you guys that too. So what we would also do, I like to wait until the mala's actually made. And what you also need, I forgot to tell you. So when, say you're coming to the end. So let's pretend that we're making this one and we're coming to the end, but we haven't yet put these on. I'll just bring this back up. So say we've come to the end and we're about to put these little things on. You can see, because this one's quite old now, there is the tiger tail at the top, and I've put a little crimp on there. And the crimps, these are silver ones. Otherwise, you might see those brass or other different colors. So they're literally just a tiny little 2.5 millimeter round silver crimp. So you want to take one of these, and essentially you're putting it through the little catch and bringing it back on itself. So you'll have the crimp with it like this. So say my fingers are where the crimp is. And then what you do is come in with your pliers and you're just pressing it down. So you're clamping it in place so it's set. So you want to make sure that when you're doing this too, that you have it in the exact spot. You don't want to leave too much of the wire or distance. You want to make sure everything's pulled into alignment. And that's where working on a table is definitely much easier than trying to do it live on YouTube. But yeah, you'll get other little clasps. These ones are called lobster clasps, are the ones that I like to use. And you can see here, you can get some of these from craft stores. Unfortunately, a lot of the craft stores nowadays won't have silver. And this is where I have navigated over to Etsy and to eBay. But you want to make sure that you're getting authentic stones is like my biggest thing when I'm making these sorts of things. So yeah, that's how you make a mala. So once I've made this, I sometimes will even work with a candle. Thank you. Yeah, this is a beautiful one. So this is rhodonite. So we know this is a stone for healing. It's a stone for love. This is one I think that I made a few years ago when I had the idea for Heal a Broken Heart potion. And as Giselle is saying, yeah, the strong crimp beads too, because you will find some are a little bit more flimsy. So you just want to make sure you're getting really good quality. But yeah, if we think about after you've got that done, so you've completed it, you want to sit in quiet intention, and you might want to wear it. I like to hold them between my hands and really just infuse and see the vision of why I'm making the mala or the prayer. And some people will use them to work with an assortment of prayers. For me, I like to make specific ones for specific things. So this one is self-love and nurturing, and also connected to do with spiritual unfoldment. So with this, I would be charging that up, and I would be seeing and visualizing myself in a place of just ultimate self-love, devotion, nurturing. So I might be visualizing, seeing myself smiling, feeling amazing, stretching, you know, after some yoga or going on a walk or drinking a really nice smoothie, things of that sort of nature that are to do with self-love. And you can even work with other ones. So what was the other one that we have? So say if you're doing it with like a little bracelet that you may have made, and these are ones that I got from Sedona years ago. These beads, you might also want to incorporate. These are volcanic beads, and you can actually drop essential oils on that and use that to also anchor and infuse. So say if I'm working with manifestation, like we were talking about, the one that I'll make in the future connected to do with abundance, being the green adventurine and the green tassel. If I wanted to put some little volcanic beads on that as some little, you know, just extra feature or design, I would be putting things like mint on there, which is really great for attracting abundance. Pennyroyal, although it can be toxic to pets, is another one that attracts abundance. I usually like things to smell good too, though. So just, yeah, there's so many different ways that you can add that attraction energy to it. And it's also, when you're wearing it, remember that it's also about using it. So I might have an affirmation that I'm working with. So I would want to do it in, think about like what I want to anchor for future, but bring it into the present tense of now. So I'm so happy and grateful that I get to experience, I don't know, you sort of get my drift with creating the affirmation. So I feel so happy and grateful that I'm taking care of myself and putting my needs first. And then I would move on to the next one. Or I feel so happy and completed. You know, if you're working with love, I feel so happy and grateful that I have the most divine, authentic, connected soulmate. So you can be working with things like that, whatever it is, like affirmation wise. And so I like to make these as presents for friends as well. You know, if it's a birthday or if they're going through a particular period of stress, you know, you might make an abundance one, or you might make one dedicated to giving them nourishment or love if they're going through a breakup as well. And yeah, so the silver fairy, this was a gift from a friend, and I just thought she really finished that. But yeah, with this, you're thinking or seeing that person in that light of having that, what it is that they're working for. So it might be making the abundance one, seeing that person in a place where they're just smiling, or they're conveying a story to you, saying how happy they are and what an amazing surprise of the abundance that came to them. So let me know if you guys have any questions. That's sort of a brief description around making the mala beads. And I just want to check that I've gone through all of my little pictures that I had up for you. Let me know if anyone's made any mala beads as well. Yeah, infusing bliss. And I do say it is good to meditate. I mean, making the bead process for me is meditation. And sometimes you'll find that when you're doing things that you're really passionate about or that you love, one way to know that is you don't get hungry. So making beads and things in the past, it's been really funny because you can go the whole day beading and just loving it, and then realize, oh, I haven't eaten today. So yeah, it is a form of meditation where you do feel kind of complete in yourself. I do have one of my friends that sat down with me once to make them, and she's like, oh my God, this is too fiddly. She's like, can you please finish it? So it's not meditation for everyone. So don't worry if you do feel frustrated with this. But it is something really special that you can make yourself. You don't have to wear it. Sometimes I like to hang them over the frame of the bed, or you can hang them over, you know, a mirror or something of that sort of nature. But it definitely, for me, feels therapeutic. So if anyone doesn't have any questions, I will see you later in the final zodiac reading. So I've got most of them up. There's the last 3 to go. I think we're up to Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, I think, are the last 3. So let me just pop this up on screen and show you what we have. So these are all the ones that we've got up so far. So I finished on Sagittarius last night. And I also just want to remind you guys, we will have the new moon event coming up it will be around the 24th of July. So look out for that because we've still got the Cancer New Moon one up because we've only just finished that the other week. And also, you can also look at the bundles. So if you're looking at working on multiple different things for manifestation, or sometimes you just feel like there's one thing in particular you would like to work with. And the other thing to look out for is I do have the sessions available on solreta.com, but there will be something new coming soon. There's something I've been working on in the background. So hopefully this helped today. And I look forward to seeing photos. Hey, Jenny, lovely to see you here too. Look forward to see photos if you guys make your own mala beads. And also remember to check out this video. This was a really, really good one. Let me just play it. You won't hear the sound. And you'll see here, he's actually carved and made his own wooden bead thing. I've got it on double sound and speed, but he'll show you how to make the knots if you do want to do it the traditional way. And this is more, I guess, what you would say, sort of like a dress piece, making it that way. But anyway, I just want to say thank you so much. And it was a lot of fun to bring this to you guys. And I will also see you for the Mystical Oracle reading on the weekend. Okay, take care. And happy 4th of July to my beautiful American friends too. Oh, and happy birthday, Jenny. Awesome.